So if you watch the update on the 40-gallon BowFront, we kind of, I think I said it towards the beginning, but I was discussing, the plant situation in this tank. And, when this first tank got set up, plants weren't really in the mind, obviously if you go back, you can see what this tank used to look like. It was basically just fake wooden plants, which actually looked kind of, the way I had it actually looked pretty good. But obviously, and then I eventually changed it. This has been up for like more than a year now, but I changed it to the Serious Stone Custom Scape. So all this is all customized. So I like most people buy Serious Stone and they get like a random selection, with the certain amount of pounds that you bought. This was all, this was a custom made, so I actually knew what I was getting when it came to this. So if you ever wondered how, like, it is kind of cool looking and different, so that's why, it's all custom. Definitely wasn't cheap though, but it fits this tank so well, and it just leaves a lot of open space for all the schooling fish. It just works out really well. But carrying on to the plants, as you can see, these S. reppin bush used to be lush. It used to be all filled in. There used to be no gaps at all. I mean, this is what it looked like when I was first planting it. It was way smaller than this actually, but this is like what it looked like when I was, when it was first growing. Now it's like what happened. So when I was trying to, when I had a little bacteria bloom, and really it's just my fault in general. I haven't been really turning on these lights for this tank because the light it it helps whatever makes the tank the bacteria when you get a bacteria bloom, that white cloud, that stuff grows off of, just like any plant, it grows off of light. And basically when you keep the light on, it won't, I mean, it'll eventually fix itself, but it'll just take longer, and that light just keeps it growing, that bad bacteria just growing, and which just causes your tank to be all that white gray cloud. So if you keep your lights on while all that's happening, then it's just gonna extend the period. And leaving the lights off for 2 or 3 days actually really helps, and it just speeds up the process way more. So if you didn't know that, that's a little trick that I found out, just discovered myself, and it works every time. So, but even that's not really what the problem is. Even before that, I left the lights off. I just haven't been paying attention to this tank, or really, you know, compared to this one, because that one, at the moment was kind of more important. And, the maintenance gets done on it, and, fish get fed, but it hasn't got the love like it used to get. But today is going to be kind of depressing because we got to, remove all these. These are gone. I mean, they're not going to grow. They're basically melted away. They're just, they're not going to, I mean, they could recover, but I highly doubt. It's going to take a long time. And, this one doesn't look that bad. I'm not going to lie. So, I wish I could leave some, but I think we're just gonna have to rip all these out. That plant back there looks pretty good, but that's gonna be taken out. The only two plants that are gonna get left are these and what was over here, the other newbies that I took out of the 20 gallon. Now it's stuck to the intake. Wasn't surprised by that because I just sat it in there, but we might just have to get rid of that one too. That one's kind of. And then these Java ferns, if I keep the lights on good, I think these Java ferns could regenerate back. They're actually pretty healthy. It's just this middle layer kind of started turning brown. Also, if we go down to the 20 gallon, you won't even be able to see it. I mean, yeah, it's too dark, but there's a way more. We'll turn it on just for this video. Woo. So as you see, like all these plants are just way more lush. You can see the S. repens in here, the kind of bush I have going around the rock. And then as you can see, these Java ferns back here are just nice, and gotta wipe off the glass. I'm gonna do a water change, so clean all this up, and then you can see everything else. Just carpet is just slowly growing, but it's getting there. But yeah, I've been scrubbing these rocks weekly now. It's getting kind of annoying, but I don't see. It usually doesn't look like the rocks don't look this dirty. It's usually like looks really good, but. You see this plant, I've had to trim it. I trimmed the left side. Ooh, it looks like this one's actually starting to grow. This is actually a trimming right here, because you can see this was like the top. Like, it's actually gotten taller, so it actually is rooting. But as you can see, I kind of experimented. I took off these two. You can see the little notches that I cut from. And you can see, see right there, you see that tiny leaf? So it is growing back, which I was just trying to experiment because I didn't know what was going to happen, so that's good. And so I'll have to trim that one back now that I know that it will grow back, but I'm going to wait for the other stems to kind of regenerate and see what happens because I don't want to kill this whole plant. But and then I actually added back the air stone because the skimmer does good, but a lot of times the film will get on the edges of the tank and then the skimmer will never get it. So this air, having this in the corner just hidden, kind of just moves the water more around. Just on the, it really moves the sides here just so there's no film on the sides because that's been happening lately, but the main surface is, as good as it gets. And that just, the film just helps, you really don't want that protein buildup on the surface because then it takes away your light and it just doesn't look good and it can really affect a lot of stuff. So I thought it's not really so much dangerous to your fish, but you don't want to see it and it's gonna take away light. So you might want to get that fixed if you do have it. And Eheim skimmer is really good, so I would recommend getting one of those if you want to spend the money. But what I might do is put the camera right here and basically just kind of show you me ripping them out. But I'll see you when that happens. Okay, I'm going to start ripping them out now. I got my towel just to set the plants on. We'll take a look at the roots, especially this one right here. There's gonna be a lot of roots through these plants, so it's going to be kind of interesting tearing them up for like the first time ever. But let's get started. Water feels kind of cold, but it's basically 80 degrees. I don't know why it feels so cold. Here we go. Oh yeah, there's a lot of roots. That is a whole lot of roots. That is a whole lot of growth. I'll show you guys in a second. This tank's gonna look really different without these. And when I get into the new house, I think I might do an S-Reppins thing again, but at the same time, I'm gonna be like upgrading this tank to like a 60-gallon rimless or something like that. So really, none of this is really gonna, stay how it is. Well, this entire scape's gonna be basically disappeared because we're not gonna use the scape again. But I don't know, depending how big the room is, I could probably keep this setup. Who knows? But definitely getting a bigger tank. That's for sure. Got our last one over here. I don't know how well you guys are going to see the last one. Let me tell you, there's a lot of roots though. That's for sure. Expect though. Big old pile of plant. The S-Rabbits are actually bigger when you pull them up. Half it was like buried. But this right here is gonna, the sand's like super clean right here because nothing's ever touched it. It's like brand new. Ooh, that's long roots. Just kind of rip out all these roots. We will do a water change on this tank, so. Ooh, let me dry off my stuff. Yeah, this sand really needs to get mixed around, cleaned. Okay. So as you can see, I mean, these are kind of the smaller ones, but this really big one, this main one, you can see it's actually pretty tall. Look at the roots on that thing. But next we're gonna, I don't want to make this video too long, but we're gonna rip out these next ones. And then do a water change. You guys might see, you won't see the water change, but you might see the aftermath. I don't know yet. At least the tank cleaned up. Who knows what I feel like doing. Now these ones have super big roots, I know that for sure. It's actually barely even rooted in there. Obviously, because you don't want to bury the ribosome. That's the key. Ooh, it's dirty now. That's for sure. Yeah, I kind of hate the fern's actually not that bad, but you know, it's getting kind of weird. But as you can see, this root's about 12 inches. Good plant though. Shoot, I hate to get rid of it. I'll find somewhere. But so as you can see, the plant, the tank looks plain. But you know, obviously we got to clean it all up. There's all kinds of roots and dust flying around from the sand. But you can see all the sand. Got to clean up all the sand, get it all nice and pretty again. And yeah, I mean, really, it won't look like anything until we clean it all up. But you can see it just doesn't look as, you know, exciting. But it's kind of what it is. But I guess I'll see you guys when, you know, after the water change.